Hey, what's up, guys? It's Kev. We are back with Crypto Raiders. Really happy to launch this again after a couple weeks break. And the reason why we paused it is because the new release of Crypto Raiders came out and it was a little bit buggy. I'm sure you all know if you follow in the Discord that there was quite a lot of discontent with the release. The team have also acknowledged that there were problems. They kind of forced it upon everyone. Um, they did do some testing, but it just, I guess, was they didn't test it enough, or they just wanted the community to test it. And I think I get that. Totally get the way that they did that because it kind of like forces the whole issue where it needs. Uh, Maybe there weren't enough people to test it, or I don't know. I think like they did the right thing by pushing it out and discovering what was wrong with it. So we find out exactly like what needs to be fixed, and they've already fixed a bunch of bugs with it. And I think a lot of the teething issues have now been resolved since it's been launched. One of the main issues that we had as a guild was the ability to multi-raid, and I think that it threw everyone off because in the way that everyone was raiding before, where you had like this management interface, this dashboard of raiders where you just like point and click at the raider and then it's literally just like one button to launch. Now you have to kind of dive inside the game and it's all inside the game console in the web browser. And also the desktop client and the mobile client, and the team are also working on those and making them better. But having been playing it like the last couple of weeks myself, I think that we're at a point now where we can comfortably tell people the right way to play the game. And I'm sure that everyone's got their own styles, but as long as there's like as long as we're convinced that these raids can be completed like within about an hour, like doing 10 raiders, then we're happy to say yes, it is possible to do this within an hour, and we'll reward you for your time in playing these because we still have a big interest in leveling up these raiders. There's been a town hall recently on the Crypto Raider side where they released a lot of alpha. You may have seen it in the Discord channel where I wrote up like a lot of information from that town hall, and I think it's definitely going in the right direction. The dev team have a solid structure and a plan as to how they're going to release Crypto Raiders. The next big release is coming in September, guys, and it sounds like an absolutely massive task, but they say that they're going to do it. Overworld is coming in September, and Overworld is basically like mass multiplayer online role-playing game environment. So it's as if I would be able to control these raiders with my keyboard or mouse point and click and play it like inside the game. So I would like start off in the village. I would then venture out into like the hostile areas where I can then find like enemies to battle. Yeah, I think you kind of get it. And also something that's really exciting, and I think like they're being really coy about it as well because they keep saying that they're tailoring the game for people that just have like a handful of raiders, and obviously what we have as a guild are like hundreds of raiders. But what they're saying, even though that they're saying that they're tailoring the game for like people with a few raiders, what they're also saying is that soon you're going to be able to like put raiders into teams. So imagine that. You have a tank, like you got a strength hero, and the whole purpose of the strength hero is to absorb all of the damage from enemy mobs. And then behind the strength hero, you've got like a DPS hero, you've got a high damage hero, you've got like support heroes, which might be able to like heal the tank or give like aura buffs to the DPS for more damage or like more armor for the tank. If you ever played Warcraft 3, then you'll know that like having like multiple heroes and they're able to like support each other in various different ways, and I think that's going to add a lot of richness and depth to the game. Um, I kind of hope that if they go that way and make everyone like force everyone to like play this open world game, that there's going to be some quick way to get to the dungeons. Because at the moment where we enter into dungeons is just very quick to like select the dungeon you want to do, and you can almost like do it systematically. And a large part of the game that I really enjoy is the whole item drops, and then going to cryptoraiders.guru to then look at like how I'm equipping my raiders, and we're going to go into a bit more detail about some of the raiders that I've got now that are very decent in terms of like their level and their items and their capability. And I've probably got like about 20 heroes that are attacking the new dungeons, and we'll have a look at the new dungeons as well. Just while we're talking about the new dungeons, the raiders that you're probably going to have are like a little bit behind, like they're not going to be good enough to attack like the new dungeons. So you're just going to have to carry on with the dungeons that they're capable of, and as you play the raiders more and you get better weapons and items, you're going to be able to progress onto harder dungeons, and eventually you'll be getting onto like the new dungeons. But yeah, we all know it's a slog, and it's going to be it's not going to happen immediately. It's just something that you're going to have to work towards. Yeah, so let's get stuck in with what the new game actually is for anyone that hasn't actually seen it yet. So you log on to the Raiders website. You're going to be familiar with this. The thing that's changed here is that you can't launch raids from here anymore. You would have remembered that like, there's buttons at the bottom that you then like launch the missions, and you have like the sidebar that comes into the side. What you do now is you click the game button at the top, which you see here, and as the Unity engine launches, we put in the credentials, and I'm just gonna, not that one, where is this one? Get the password, sign in. Jesus, loud. I think I'm using a desktop audio for you guys, so you're not going to hear it. I'm just going to turn the volume down. So when you launch the game, all of your raiders now are like wandering around in like these pre-scenes, and this account has 10 raiders in, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 raiders. So we're going to have like 2 screens where we can see all our raiders, and it's pretty cool that they can like walk around, and you know, it looks nice, but it's not really practical for people that have a lot of raiders, because also what tends to happen is that between logging out and coming back to the game is that I think these raiders all mix up as well, so there's no like structured way to like, okay, this one, then the next one, then the next one. I think with 10 raiders it's a little bit easier because there's only like 2 screens where they're contained in, and it's just a matter of like clicking between the raiders, and you have like the number of raids that they got left. As you can see here, just like clicking between the raiders. And then when I find a raider that I want to do raids on, so let's find this guy, I can basically click on adventures. This is like the mission menu now, and I can choose which mission that I want to do. They're still in the same order with the new missions at the bottom, and these are the raids and the missions which are very difficult. Basic raiders are not going to be able to attack these new ones. If you weren't already attacking the top dungeons, then this was the last one before they did the big update, and then they released 6 more missions. But I think from what I've seen across the board is that most raiders are like in this region of Hidden Temple through to Farmhand, with some still lagging behind Olgo. Although I'd like to think that we've done, most raiders are capable of beating Olgo now. Definitely want to be trying to attack the harder missions as often as possible because they get better drops. Better drops means you can attack harder dungeons. Attacking harder dungeons means you get more XP, and obviously the more XP, the quicker the raider develops, and that's all part of the performance monitoring that we're doing as well. And I'll go into a little bit more detail about that later. So you probably want to know like how to multi-raid. The desktop client I found is that every time you opened it, it opened like a slightly smaller res window, and it's just like a pain really is not really practical to multi-raid with a desktop client. Having said that, I still think it's possible to do it in a web browser. I hope they continue to support the web browser because even though they said they want to focus on like mobile clients and desktop clients, I feel like the web client is like the most like universal way to access this game because I can go to any computer with a web browser and open up my account and start playing. So what I'd recommend to you is to basically, this is in Google Chrome, right? But I'm pretty sure this is going to be universal across most different web browsers. But all I need to do is duplicate the browser, duplicate the browser, duplicate the browser. So we got 4 instances running, and then we basically snap the browser to the bottom to the corners of the screen, and then we zoom out, which will affect all of the windows to the point where we can see all of them. So now we've got like 4 game instances running. So let's log in again. Let me just grab the credentials to log in. Paste, 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 and password, copy, paste, 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 sign in, sign in, sign in. And then I suppose if you like trying to do it in a structured way, then you might want to do like focus on one hero at a time. So I might be like, let's do Molten Hand in this instance. Let's find a hero that's got like 7 raids left. Well, I suppose it doesn't really matter, but we'll do Dark Shade. Okay, Dark Shade, Dark Shade, Dark Shade, Dark Shade. And because we name and update the name of our raiders with the current quest that they're on, I know what dungeon to tackle. So Dark Shade, Farmhand, Normal. So what I do is I click this, go to Farmhand, Normal, and Normal means it's the opposite of Heroic. If I wanted to go Heroic, then I'd tick the box. So I go Raid, and then Farmhand, Farmhand, Normal, Farmhand, Normal. And then I can just like click each one to get the game going. Depending on how powerful your computer is, I guess how many screens you got, you could then like not only just like have 4 instances, but maybe like 8 instances. Do you need more than 7 instances because you only get like 7 raids? I don't know. Like if you're doing it across multiple raiders, then maybe you don't. And then yeah, you just basically spam this mission out. I have to double click because like you're going not only like clicking the action in the window, but you're also like the first click is like going between like the active window. Like if I click here, the first click is really just about like making this the active window, and then if I click over here, this becomes the active window. So now I'm actually in the active window. If I clicked again, it then we then actually do the attack. So I'll go double click, 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 shield, shield, double click, shield, can't do that yet. Attack, 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 shield, shield. Seems a bit boring, no? A bit repetitive. What I do is that I actually have like a macro key tool which will actually repeat like a set of commands that will just basically say on the screen like double click here, double click here, double click here, double click here, and then loop back to the beginning with some extra stuff that activates the shield as well as part of that. When you've got to do like as many raiders that I have, you have to streamline this process as best as possible because this is only like a little small part of the game. Playing the game and defeating the boss is just a small part of it. I think the more important part and the bigger part of it is actually managing the items, and we'll come back to that in a moment. We'll just quickly slay this guy. and I'll probably edit the video just to like skip this bit because this is going to take a while. Actually, no. Just you know how it ends, so I'm just gonna like close, and then once you've raided all the raiders, what you need to do is you need to click. Well, first of all, you need to make sure that you've got the CRC Crypto Raiders Google Chrome add-on, which I've explained in a previous video on how to do, and I'll link that in the information for this video. But once you get that, you just have to update, and then what we're going to do is go to cryptoraiders.guru, put in the wallet address for the account that it's linked to. So in this case, it's this. And then we go to my stuff. And then you want to be organizing by one hero at a time. We want to be making sure that we're using the best items, because they're the ones that are going to deal like the most damage, and are going to allow you to progress faster than otherwise. I think for a long time I was like championing agi int builds, but now I'm partial to strength int builds. Is mainly because if you stick to one, then you can't really be versatile between sticking like if you were like on a dungeon which didn't really drop any like agi items, then you know you might be getting a lot of strength and intelligent items, and strength intelligence can be or is just as good as agi int. Whether or not there's like a good combination with strength agi, I don't know. I prefer definitely prefer the old either agi or strength as primary and an int as secondary. Mainly because of the mainly because how int is really good for damage and critical damage. And so is agi. But yeah, strength tends to lend to like having like a good HP boost, so you get like more HP, you last longer. And agi is good for evasion, so you're like parrying away a lot of the hits, so that lends to survivability as well. Right, and then back to this. Did we do Crypto Raiders Guru? Did I okay, Crypto Raiders Guru. Just make sure that I finish talking about yeah. So if I was this guy, I'd be looking at right. Am I? Do I have good strength items, or do I have good agi items? And I think like this draws my attention probably immediately to the fact that we're probably looking at an agi int build, because the best agi item is this boomerang with 20. And what I'm also looking at is which agi item that I had near the top, which has like the most total stats, also has complementary luck and wisdom. And the reason why I go for wisdom is because we get points on the damage and points on the accuracy as well. Luck lends to the crit rate and crit damage, and also a little bit towards evasion as well. Charisma is, I suppose, technically good for tanks and strength heroes, but I just find that there's so much more benefit for having going wisdom being the best, then luck, and then charisma. Oh, not charisma, it's charm, isn't it? What am I talking about? Yeah. So yeah, if I was equipping this guy, I'd be like, right, okay, so I've got to make the boomerang, and then complementary for the mystical shoal. So I've got to decide what do I want for this. Definitely heavier on the intelligence for this version of it, and we also get some wisdom in there as well. So I mean, if I was equipping for this character, I'd be looking at this as the clothes, and then a boomerang as the weapon. And if you run in this dungeon, then you can also pick up some rings and necklaces as well, which also contribute to these stats. And then once that's all done, then I would be thinking about challenging farmhand normal to see if I can push like even further beyond that. I'd probably be looking at like the witching hour or the awakened. And as I'm able to defeat those harder dungeons, those new dungeons give better weapons, and so you can see what the cycle is. Basically, just goes round and round and round um, until you're basically in a few weeks' time to a month. You're like on Hidden Temple or Enter the Temple or Echoes in the Dark. Even maybe if like you get like a good rare or an epic or a legendary, which I know some of you have got, then that's going to basically catapult you into like these new dungeons potentially. All right. Okay. Cool. So just to reinforce like this whole thing about like having to like use this tool, cryptoraiders.guru, I think for me it's definitely like the best tool to basically have like a high level view of all of your raiders, and will allow you to find like the best equipment to equip. The reason why that's important is because the expectation from the guild side is that you will always be getting new items that drop. You always get new items that drop. If you are playing the game properly, i.e., attacking the dungeons which your raiders are capable of beating, you will always get new drops. And the chances are, out of the 7 raids that you get, you're going to get an item that is better than the one that you already have. So, having said that, you should always be progressing with your dungeons and attacking harder dungeons. Harder dungeons give you more XP, and what we're able to do is basically log into all of the accounts and scrape this information, like your overall XP over time, and we put it into a spreadsheet. And I'm just going to show you that to you now. Just bear with me a moment while I pull that up. Just give me a moment. I already had it up. Okay, cool. So you all know, like, Crypto Raiders was a game that we've been playing for a while, all the way back to May and April, probably. And let's take one of these players, for example. I don't know, like the top one. So Baths, for example, was in charge of 10 raiders, which was selected here. In May, True Rage had an XP. Well, I think what we do is, because like the idea that the XP gains are exponential, is that we basically add all these up and divide by 10 to get the average, and boil it down to one number. The average XP earned for Bass across all his raiders was 16,475.6. The next week, 11th of May, his average XP was 21,120, and then it was 35,120. Then it was 39,090, and then it was 45,595. There should the average XP earned across all of the raiders, because at least one raider is going to get like better weapons. Like the average should keep on going up. So this is how we're basically saying that if I format this into a chart, then you'll be able to see visually. Insert chart as a line. So yeah, this is what we look at. We're saying, is Bass playing the game properly? If line is ascending like this, it should be like over time, just like a steady line up. Then the answer is yes. And if Bass wasn't playing the game properly, i.e., not playing at all, or he was just playing the same dungeons over again and not updating his weapons, then he's not playing the game properly. and we'd get rid of him because it's a waste of our money. Paying people to play the game, where we very clearly said that we want people to play the game properly. Um, and I have an example of a player that did not play the game properly. I'm just trying to find. I think it was Sensi actually. Yeah. The reason why these results got better is because I took over the account. But basically, what was happening was the data that we were collecting did not indicate that he was progressing like we would like to. Especially when you've got like all this other data to compare to and all these other players. Yeah, I mean, even though the line goes up, there's like marginal gains, like earning like 3,000 XP more than before. Whereas you'd see like people were making like, well, there's 7,000 difference there, 7,000, 7,000. That was, oh, we're looking at Gridden. Yeah. So just to let you know that we know if you're not playing the game properly, and we're not like trying to like call you out and like we'll give you a chance. What we wouldn't say if you're not playing the game properly, we'd work with you to see if we can like improve you, because if people want to play the game but they just don't know how, but they're too shy or to reach out in the Discord or message us directly, then yeah, we want people to be able to talk to us about it, and we can help you because we're all experienced in playing the game, and yeah, I think it's quite simple to understand how to play the game, but there might be people that don't get it, but also we want to encourage people to speak up about it as well. So yeah, just to conclude that bit of the video, we will be monitoring and making sure that you're playing the game properly. So that's just like the caveat for you playing for us, so we also watch your stats. And there shouldn't be any problem because, like, if you play the game properly, there won't be an issue. All right, okay, cool. So we covered so far how to multi-raid, how to we're letting you know about like how we're collecting data on the players. I just wanted to go over so when we relaunch, by the way, it's only going to be Delta Squad. Charlie Squad is not relaunching for the moment. So whereas you'd have 9 people for each squad, and we had 18 altogether, that's now 9. And it will slowly expand and get bigger and bigger again. But just for the moment, it's just Delta that's going to be going live. And all of the raiders from Charlie Squad have actually been consolidated and separated into like the cream of the crop, have been moved away from like the more basic raiders. And I'm very pleased to say that we've actually got like 50 really decent raiders, with the minimum is attacking Hidden Temple normal, and the maximum is like well into like heroic of like the last dungeon. Specifically, we got Wolf Grip, who's attacking Echoes in the Dark. We've got what have we got? We've got Bright Cut, Echoes in the Dark, Shield Gaze, Echoes in the Dark, Swift Sword, Echoes in the Dark. We've got Shadow Sword that's beating the Sage. And Doomhand is attacking, I forgot the name of that one, the Right and the Weary. It's quite funny how it abbreviates to twat, but there you go. But yeah, that's Doomhand. You remember we did a tournament with him because he was like our best raider. In terms of his stats, that should probably be reset so it's all focused into one column, because the bug where you get like a penalty for having it split. And yeah, like absolute beast of a hero. Still rocking the Raging Tempest. Still with the Autumn Leaf armor, which is actually dropped back from, I think it's Hidden Temple, but still like the best agility based armor that we have. Yeah, with an all-round score of like 63 plus 72. What's that, like 135 altogether? Yeah, it was awesome. With some pretty good complementary items as well. The necklace, yeah, high agi in iron of the pendant there. And as for like the rings, yeah, pretty decent ring as well. Solid iron band and agility, and extra 13 agility. Yeah, wow. I mean, that's pretty decent, right? Um, Dark Eye attacking ABC. What is that again? Is it what's ABC? A broken cog. Yeah, decent. And I swear I organized all these heroes into like strength agility, but I must have moved them again. But yeah, I mean, we just do like a quick rundown, and just do a few examples about how I identify and find like the right items. So let's say, for example, I'll finish like a weaker rating, and I'm looking at the items that he's got, and by default it orders by total stats. So you get the best items at the top, and probably the ones that you always want to be looking to equip as well. This is actually a mix of like agility and strength, so that doesn't really lend to either category of agi in or strength in. So we kind of just have to like deal with that. It's a bit annoying that the items that I've got, none of it actually gives any intelligence. Maybe that's a bad example to start with. Let's find one a little bit further down. Silent Fang. So Silent Fang, here's a good example where not only am I equipping like the best items, because remember the best items are at the top, but I've also identified like this is an agi int hero because it's got the high agi and it's got the high int. Happy with having it, letting it have some charm. Probably could make it better by actually see if we can pin this down. There we go. All right, thank you. Go away. By doing this one instead, because we get the wisdom instead of the charm. But the fact is that there is no better there's no better clove dress item than the autumn leaf armor, which is so I'm not going to pick anything different. So why not just like stack the charm as well by having the item the imbued temple block there with this build. And with this, I'm stacking agility. It's like basic main stat, and it's got like agi with the necklace and a bit of strength there as well. And then this is like strength as well. I think when it comes to like these supplementary items, it just doesn't really matter. I think it just, as long as like you're equipping like the one with like the most points, and it really does matter when you're choosing your items. But yeah, you just got to really make sure you're equipping like the best ones, as long as they complement each other. I'll try and find an example where it's not like the top, and but it's near the top. This might be a good example actually. So Oliver here, attacking Hidden Temple, agility based hero, and we're attacking. Sorry, so we're equipping these. That one, this one as well. So the Autumn Leaf Armor and Shard Fragment. And what do we have with that? We got heavy on the agi there, and we got heavy on the int here. So yeah, really nice agi int hero with, well, and this is good, 34 complementary wisdom points, and we're also stacking it down here as well. And what other choice did I have at the time? Well, Grass Blade, maybe, because that's also agility based, and we also get like the intelligence as well. So that's like a equal contender. In terms of total stats, they're both at 50, so they're pretty balanced. But it's probably the reason why I chose this is probably because like we get the wisdom with the shard fragment, which stacks quite nicely with the autumn leaf armor that we get here. So we're really like beefing that up, and we do get some here, but most of these supplementary points have been absorbed into charm, which, as I said before, is not like a massive fan of. Maybe like if it was like a strength int hero, then sure. But yeah, once I find like the items that I want to equip using this tool, then I'll go back to the game client and then choose which. Then basically find it in here and equip it, and then you'd have to like do the update again in order for it to like bleed through into Crypto Raiders Guru, and you probably need to like either reload or refresh stuff. Can't entirely remember. Yeah, where were we? And then we basically keep going. Got like some hidden temples. So yeah, this is like my floor raiders, even though they're quite high. I got 50 altogether. Like the lowest ones are attacking hidden temple. We got here, so this one, this one, this one, this one. So it's agility based in terms of its stat points. So yeah, we've gone for the grass blade as a weapon, which is high agi and high int, with the maroon samu, which is also agi based. So there's very high agi. Intelligence somewhat lacking, but it's impossible to make it perfect, but just as close as you can to either like agi int or strength int, and try not to make it too mixed between the two, whilst also making sure that you're like equipping like the items that are near the top because they're your best weapons, and more deterministically through the total stats as well. Yeah, and we get like a nice buff on the luck and the wisdom here. Luck and wisdom there. You might be saying, well, Vine Whip has got 17 points for wisdom, but it just doesn't trump. It's got no agi in. So yep. I could go like all the way down and show you all of these, but I mean it's just the same over and over again. Okay, did I organize them in strength int? So yeah, maybe these are like my strength int heroes now. That is crap. That needs fixing. Yeah, so this is a strength based. What items have we got? So we're equipping this one with this one. Is that the leaf armor? Yep. So let's see here. We have pretty high intelligence on that, and then but no strength. And then we've got intelligence and strength through the armor. And I think to begin with, I would have been like, okay, right, Aegean all the way. But you can see that the most recent dress that I've got, which lends anything to agility, is probably the maroon samu here, and then that's like basically all the way back at 42 total stat points. So I kind of sacrificed going down the Agi int road on this one because it's much better stats being lent to strength and intelligence here. We're almost like 20% better off just by going down the road of going strength in. So yeah, I'll just do like one quick, because the Crypto Raider fans like they kind of nerd out over the items. Sorry, so I'll just quickly show you like some of the items that I've got. So I've got quite a few epics and legendaries as well. I love this. Even though like this one drops on the witching hour, I think. Yeah, Eye of the Ritualist is an epic. Even though it drops in like the witching hour, which is like the average total stats for back then, is probably looking at around like in the 40s. This boosts all the way up to nearly 70, and like it's super awesome on Aegean. And we also get the juicy luck and wisdom as well as the supporting stats. Also equipping the Autumn Leaf Armor, which has got like 29 int and 30 charm. Wow, okay. I mean, not bad, not bad. And the item quality is S, which I believe is a good thing. Kind of have like item grading. It's like school grading system, like S, A, B, C, D, E, F, and F being like the worst. If you get dropped an item, which is like an F or an E or a D or whatever, then yeah, what that means is that you've received from the drop roll, i.e. the luck or the randomness of the item that you get, you've got like a poor variation of that item. But as for the town hall, which they talked about it a little bit earlier in the week, or was it last week? They said that they're going to introduce like a blacksmith, and as an Aurum sync, you're going to be able to take your items and go to the blacksmith and upgrade your weapons. So yeah, that's really awesome. Okay, cool. So now that I've finished gloating about all my raiders, we're gonna just like move on to the next bit. I showed you my raiders. We could talk about the guild overall and like what we're doing, but before we do that, I just want to go over some of the stuff from the town hall. Just make sure we're all on the same page because I want everyone to be infused by what's going on in Crypto Raiders, and just make sure that everyone understands. Okay, community bugs being fixed, blah blah blah. They said that they're focusing on desktop client over the mobile version. What we want is to make sure that they're going to continue supporting the web version. Make the game feel more like an RPG and an MMO. Adding more social aspects into the game. I think that will come in September if they're going to launch Overworld. Raider classes, yeah, very important part of what's coming very soon is that where we talk about like agi in and strength in to describe like certain raiders and tell them apart from others, they're actually formally creating like classes of raiders. So you're going to have like warriors, paladins, wizard, druid, and probably a few others, and each one is going to have like their own tech tree of abilities. So what you may be familiar with as like existing raiders is that you can have like magic shield, magic armor, or sure strike or sneak, and like little extra bits that you can little extra features that you can use to like have an edge on your enemy. Is like they're gonna like have like different classes gonna have their own ones, so it's gonna, especially with PvP, because they have that now, and not in like the idle PvP where they had before. It's actually active peer-to-peer fighting through their servers. So that means that there's a human brain versus another human brain, rather than just like code logic, which try and interprets the input of your fight commands. Yeah, so Raider class is going to be really cool. Strength Raiders are definitely going to fall into like Warrior Paladin. Agility Raiders are going to be more like your DPS heroes. And intelligence heroes, looking down the road are like wizard, sage, shaman, or whatever. Talking about better and improved Web3 integration into the game. So what you may not be aware of, as you just log into like the Web2 side of the game and like log into the website, there's also like this whole experience where you can stake your raiders, put them on like idle quests where they're basically going out and earning resources and materials. So they want that to be a lot easier, because at the moment it's like a bit of a pain with all like the transactions that you have to do, and yeah, not really that smooth. They may even bring that into the Web2 side of the game. Yep, it was really good to hear about mob integrations. So like we talked about it for so long, it's such like a unique idea. I absolutely love this idea where if you go into a dungeon and you attack a boss, and basically from the outset, regardless whoever wins the match, there's always going to be X amount of Aurum at stake on the table, and it just depends. Like if you're the winner, then you take like the lion's share of it, like about 3/4, or if like and if you lose, then you take like a quarter of it. I love the idea that the mobs, the enemies, are like you own them as NFTs. Probably fell in love with that idea like quite early on and got wrecked in terms of like the market financial side of it. But whatever. I think a lot of people have also got wrecked recently, so just one of those things. Yeah, they're looking at applying more resources into the development of the game. They want the game to be fully realized by 2023, 2024. So that's really good for us, right? And I'll just mention I'll make sure that I cover it at the end as to why I think that's really good for us, and like what the fully realized version might actually be. So move on to the next bit. Yeah, they've moved their development funds outside of like the crypto sphere. They've offered it into like a real Bank of America bank. Yep. So the dungeons that we have now are probably going to like stay as they are until the big September release. They're still looking at improvement of the stat system. So I believe like that's all to do with like how points are assigned to agility, intelligence, and strength. They're still looking at crafting, which is basically, I think, to do that, you're going to have to need like materials first. And at the moment, they've got materials like grimweed and newtie and spore bark, and maybe there'll be like others. So, but they're more like resources to make potions. So, crafting, you might need materials. I'm not sure. A little bit hazy there, and I don't think they're definitely. I don't think they're going to be prioritizing that over the quality of life and bug fixes that they're currently working on at the moment. Potion merchant into the game. I never use potions in the game anyway, but I understand that you can buy like health potions for survivability. It's definitely going to be helpful for like your endless dungeons where you're trying to get as far as possible. I probably should start using potions for endless dungeon, but again, endless dungeon like kind of bugs out. Was part of the problem with the Unity release that they shipped. Um, Classes, we talked about classes already. Mobs, we talked about mobs already. On owning multiple raiders, we talked about that a little bit already. They said that they're tailoring the richness of the game experience for players who own a small handful of raiders, such as a main and a few alts. But they also said that for those that want to grind like a large amount of raiders, they'll still be able to do it. So it'll be interesting to see how they manifest that into maybe like changing the game interface to make that easier. For now, people that are raiding like a large amount of raiders, like us as a guild, the way that I showed you earlier, like multi-raiding and having like snapping like the tabs into like the corners of the screen, is probably the best way that we're going to be able to like multi-raid, and so that you're not sinking hours and hours into this game, because we don't think it should be like that. Yeah, they mentioned about being able to lend raiders out to other people later on, which ties into like a free to play model, which they're talking about, and that's what I was talking about earlier by like maybe like a little bit of alpha for you as well, because a lot of the games that we're seeing now that are coming out, what we've had is play to earn, then we had play and earn, then we had like X to earn, where X could be play or something else like exercise, like we've seen with Steppen. But now what I'm seeing more and more is free to play and play to earn, where you have a game experience, you play the game, and it could be free for anyone that wants to download the app from the App Store, and they can get like entertainment value from it. But there's also like, if they wanted to, then they'd also have the option to buy like the character that they're playing in the game, which up until that point they've been playing for free, as an NFT, and then the NFT version of the character in the game is like can do a whole lot more than like the free character that you get in a game. And with Crypto Raiders specifically, where their breeding model, which was called they called it recruitment, which is like very basic, where every now and then like they're able to like breed like new generations of raiders. Like if you had like a Gen 5, and then like if you like caught like a recruitment period, then you could like recruit like an additional raider, and like it's a little bit like how breeding works, except that you don't need like two raiders to like breed. You just need one to like call upon like for another. And then like the raider that you got would have been like the race would have been like random. Like you would have had like a dark elf, or you could have had a human or an orc. But I think what's going to happen is they're going to stop recruitment altogether and introduce this free to play model. And then everyone that has invested in the game so far, Gen 1 all the way through to Gen 6, there won't be like a Gen 7. They'll just be free to play. So there's 6 tiers. And then the more invested and the more you love the game and the more that you like the rewards that it's going to give you in the future, then the lower the gen, like Gen 1, the more rewards that you get. And then like Gen 6, you don't get as much, or you get like a percentage boost of the rewards that you get if you've got like a lower gen, but the lower gens then mean that they're more expensive because they yield more. Yeah. Um, and I think with regards to like bringing like multiple raiders into the game, I think you're going to have something like let me just see if like because I was preparing this. Yeah, I would imagine like when you're roaming around in like the in like Arium is like the world that is called. Is basically you're gonna have like you're gonna be controlling like your lead guy, and then behind him you're gonna have like this guy is following this one, and then this one is following this one. So it's just like a conga line of heroes as you're exploring through like the world. And then when you like uh, find like a mob to attack, then you basically you enter into like the battle game with that mob. And then when you enter into a battle game, you can organize your heroes. Like you put your tank at the front. Let's just see if we get a better color for this. Yeah, so imagine like this was a strength hero, and then like you'd put it. Let's see if we can. Damn you, Photoshop. Flatten image. Yeah, so you'd put like the tank at the front. You have like, just say for example, this is your damage guy, and you put him here at the back, and then this is like your wizard that can heal. You put him at the back, and then you're basically attacking this monster here, and the monster can only attack like the front guy, so you want your tank at the front. Um, there's your raider at the front, and then you got like the wizard at the back that's like healing him, trying to keep him alive, and this guy might have like a special ability that might be able to like attack over the tank, and maybe like there's two of these dragons, so not only you got this one, but like you're like fighting two. They have talked about like having multiple enemies in like a dungeon, as well as like having like your team here that you can attack. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, I'm not saying I like any of that stuff is like immediately like getting launched, um, but like it's on the horizon. It's within their scope of vision as to where they want to take the game. So yeah, very interesting. Raider burning. Yeah, one of the things that they mentioned that was interesting that I hadn't heard them talk about before, due to like the supply of Raider NFTs. I think there's like 66 to 70,000 Raider NFTs. They're gonna incentivize people to burn their Raiders for a benefit in the game. And the only Raider burning mechanism we had previously is like with a permadeath tournament, is what they called it, where you enter a Raider into a tournament, um, and if you die in a tournament, then your Raider gets burnt forever. Um, and that was cool, but it just wasn't like powerful enough to really get the supply down. Um, so what they could do, and one of the things that they're talking about is that you could sacrifice a raider to, and then like another raider absorbs the essence of that other raider, and then the raider that is kept alive then also resets to like level 1 again, but has like a boosted platform, like almost like it goes up a gen maybe, or it starts off with like heightened stats so that if it gets to the same level, like eventually, then it will be like superior to other raiders. suppose it's like a little bit like how Perilous Journey works in DeFi Kingdoms, I guess. So yeah, that's very cool. Still looking at Aurum syncs, Aurum item drop rerolls, where you get dropped like an item in a dungeon, but you don't like it, so you can re-roll it. But it's just like you only get like one chance to do it, or you can pay Aurum to like re-roll as many times as you want, so you get like the item that you want. Or yeah, it's an interesting idea. They're looking at adding effects to rings and necklaces. So like, say for example, if you had a ring, but it had like a poison buff, then maybe you get like passive poison attack in dungeons. That would be pretty cool as well. Same idea applies to necklaces. What else? Yeah, item sets. So as like you're able to like put more stuff on your raiders, like at the moment we just like got the dress and the weapon, but they might like eventually like do trousers or boots or shoes or hats. And then each of those like add like whatever like stats to the character. But like you could have like if you had like your boot, if you had like matching boots with like your dress and like your gloves or your belt or whatever, they're all part of a set, then a complete set then also gives you like another boost as well, and then it adds to like the scarcity of like because not all raiders are going to have that or be lucky enough to like own the whole set, or it might create some value, additional value behind like the raider that's actually got a full set on the secondary markets. It's pretty cool. Free to play version talks about that. We just missed this whole section. They're talking about that in the overworld where everyone can massively multiplayer together. Is that they're going to have like events where there's going to be like a big mob that you need like about 50 to 100 raiders like that are online at the time to go to that that mob and kill him. And I think that would just be absolutely awesome. It returns me back to the days of raiding in World of Warcraft. Yeah, very fun if they can pull that off. And maybe they can. They've got the capability to do it. It's just that they need to fix all of the bugs at the moment. And whether or not they can do it like in a year. Maybe they can. We'll just give them a chance to at least try. They're talking about having like a comic book to supplement the richness and the content and storyline within the game. So I think that's really going to come into play when we have like Overworld. There is like a little bit of lore with the game at the moment. So I know, even though I play Raiders a lot, I'm just so focused on like grinding for loot and stuff. I'm not really sort of like pay attention to like the storyline. But with the reinforcement of a comic book to like really bring some richness to the story, which will also be helpful when they actually go massively multiplayer, that's going to be important for sure. And it looks like they've already done a lot for it, but they're just holding off the publication. Land coming later on. Didn't really talk about land. I think that's got great utility, like maybe like in the world of Arium or Overworld. Sorry, maybe there's like a part of like the world that you own, but I really have no idea as to how realistically that would be implemented. Probably why they didn't say a lot about it, because like it's like the last thing on their mind. And land, for the best part for a lot of projects, is just like a cash grab. Doesn't really do anything. I know this is a controversial point to say that, but yeah, it's It's really just a speculation as to the utility that could be brought upon by using that land. I know a lot of projects have done it, and we'll just wait and see if they'll be able to do anything cool with that. Guilds V2. We as a guild, we originally had used like a guild model, but then like found it was quite limited. You couldn't equip items, so we gave each of the members like their own accounts so that they can equip the items, which is now like very important to how we want you to play the game. So that doesn't really affect us much at the moment, but it sounds like they're doing as bits to try and improve that. The long-awaited guilds V2 role-based access to particular functions in the guild, like someone might be able to manage the treasury, another who's in charge of crafting or whatever. And they're still doing tournaments, right? So I admittedly have never done a tournament. I think like the reason why is because the idle PvP. I tried to get into that, but like I just wasn't like beating like anyone, and then like I just found it more interesting just to play the game and just grind for items. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, so yeah, really cool. Nice to see the Crypto Raiders team still playing on, still trying to get the game developed and built, and they've got a vision for the future. And I still really enjoy playing, and it's not. I'm playing Crabada as well. I'm liking playing Crabada. Um, but one of the other areas that we're particularly bullish on, and especially Supreme, is Aurori. Um, and you just have to look at like the stuff that they're bringing out. It's going to be like a Pokemon game. It's going to be a game where you own like your trainer or your character. You walk around the world, find battles, and it looks really cool. Some of the stuff they're doing, so definitely recommend looking at that. Treeverse, very surprised, caught me off guard. Treeverse the other day, like with what they're doing, it had like strong Zelda vibes about it. But yeah, just another one to keep an eye on. What else? All of these games are like really cool, by the way. But I think I tried to, because I already have Voxies, I tried to give it a go. But I think like they're still struggling to get like a cohesive game. You can actually play the game and get rewards, even like if you don't own like a Voxy NFT. But like it's really hard. There are some people that either play the game like a lot and just know how to play the game better. um, and also you can see like the bots are trying to like take a stand as well. But the bots, whereas like struggle with like the intelligence of their moves, so it's very easy to kill a bot and it's just basically free money. But then you've also got to think how much time you actually sink into the game for what is ultimately like, I don't know, like $50 for like beating a game, and a game can take up to like 20 minutes, and you might not win all the games. So by the time you win like $10 in the game, you would have spent like the whole day playing, and then you've got to like think about whether or not that's actually worth any of your time. Yeah. What else? Yeah, just constantly bullish on metaverse, GameFi. We think GameFi is high beta metaverse, and as those concepts really start to manifest and take a grip in the real world of markets and investment, then our area is very niche, but it is due to expand massively as people that want to invest and take a long position in metaverse and GameFi will spend a lot of money on NFTs. And all of those NFTs are basically yield bearing assets, the same way that you might own a house and then like rent it out to someone, the same way that NFTs and GameFi assets, you own the NFTs and you rent them to someone to play the game. It's definitely something that can capture a very large audience, and also a mega on ramp for like a new wave of retail investors to come in. I appreciate that some of the people in the guild are like the retail investors that joined us, like the last at the top of the bull market. But if you're still here, congratulations. Don't worry, there's like a whole wave of new entrants still to come. And yeah, just very exciting times. And just keep an eye on markets, guys. Because I've got a lot of people telling me that we're close to a bottom. If not, we've already seen the bottom. We've seen a lot of reps, so a lot of people get wiped out. With all sorts, if not just for the price of BTC, but all alts against BTC have like gone down as much as BTC has gone down against the dollar. We've seen like the utility and inflation tokens that absolutely tanked, but like down 1,000% is insane. Um, so yeah, that the backdrop of like everything that's going on in the world, with like the inflation crisis, interest crisis, or whatever, war in Ukraine, whatever. Everyone's having a sucky time at the moment. Gas is really high. Yeah. I'm not saying like now's a good time to like go full risk on either. I'm just saying that it's one of those top moments where you have to understand that enough people have now potentially been destroyed and they don't want anything to do with it, and the sentiment is rock bottom. And if you hadn't already seen it, go and see the Wall Street cheat sheet. It's like one of these old I'm sure it's a meme now rather than informational, but because like it basically drew out the 2017 to 2018 19 like a bull bear cycle. Yeah, like when the sentiment is like rock bottom is probably the best time to buy because it, it's you've got like it can basically turn around, and then you've got like the whole spectrum of people that can come in later and buy off people that are buying now at the bottom. And also maybe there's like a lot of people that just think it's going to go lower. And if you think about the value and the scarcity of things, that if everyone thinks that, then it's not going to happen. But yeah, I mean, everything just like changed very quickly, very quickly. Um, Markets could reprice very quickly if like the war in Ukraine was suddenly over. And how do you know if like all of a sudden that just doesn't happen like overnight? It is impossible to tell. Um, yeah, there's just some kind of narrative that could just completely flip everything on their head.